Hey guys, welcome to Coral Gardens. I'm Coral. This is my garden. Yep, I did that. It's July 28th today, I believe. We're about a week and a half from the last garden tour. I thought I'd show you guys what's going on. The heat's been letting up a little bit, so some of the stuff is doing a little bit better. And hopefully we'll be getting more and more production. We have a good amount of squash coming out of the garden, a good amount of cherry tomatoes, but I am eating all of them. I'm sharing them with no one. So hopefully soon we'll have enough for the farmer's market, and we should be harvesting our first autoflower bud soon, and it will take you with us for that. It's a whole new journey for us. And I hope you guys are having fun following along. It's really fun for me to talk about because I have somebody who wants to listen. And it's also a really good way for me to learn is by teaching, because I will look things up and pay attention. And, I'm documenting what I'm growing so I can kind of have an idea of what did well and what didn't and what I put where. So it's kind of started out as a just journal for myself, because it gets away from you how quickly things grow and you feel like you're kind of at a standstill, and then you look back 2 weeks later and 2 weeks before, and it was a whole different garden. You just didn't know. So it's definitely started out as that. I did a lot of filming over the last couple of years, just here and there, and random Instagram posts, and bothered my Facebook and Instagram friends. But I finally decided it was time to start the YouTube. So here we are. Come along with me. Just keep growing in the high desert, Zone 7B. See what we can get into. We'll pick up in the morning. As I said, I'm not going to be looking cute. You will not be seeing me then. I'm not that cute now. Okay, get it out of the way. Just kidding. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. So I harvested this handful of tomatoes before I remembered I was shooting a garden tour, and that might be good for that. Do a little bit of harvesting today, but primarily we'll just look at things. So these are some tiny sun golds and a little apricot mango or mango apricot. I always forget which order that goes in. I don't see anything else to harvest over here. But we'll just take a look at how good and tall these guys are getting. All the flowers at the top. So they weren't setting as much fruit in the super high heat, and they seem to be, sometimes tomatoes will drop their blossoms and not be able to get pollinated in that time, but they seem to be back at it. We got lots of tomatoes on, and hopefully more and more to come. This is the thickest. There's those midnight snacks, just really beautiful purple anthocyanin. I had a thought that these guys that I were saying were these perfect little red slicers and were not as big as they should have been, could certainly be a different tomato and not be a Cherokee Purple. I did buy the start, which I usually have grown from seed, so I'm often more confident that things are as long as I labeled correctly, or what I say they are. So there's a chance this is just a little red slicer tomato, which is perfectly fine too. I think I have some other Cherokee Purples, hopefully. I know there was a big, huge pepper debacle this year that a lot of people had the wrong peppers. There was a big mix-up at a large company, and so that people were calling it Peppergate. Primarily affected jalapenos, so we shall see shortly if we have jalapenos or not. Here's some lettuce, doing okay. This one looks like it's thinking about bolting. See where that stem starts to get long? And the flower head will shoot out of here. These little leaves will get smaller and smaller. So we'll probably try and harvest just those last couple pretty soon. Might be not the best tasting lettuce you've ever had, grown in the 107 temperatures. We are just on bud watch for our little Critical 2.0. Waiting for, I think, 80% of the hairs to turn either brown or white. Looks like it's pretty darn close. Then our Girl Scout cookie here. This guy's just beautiful. And then here's our little scraggler. And again, he's got just little teeny tiny buds. Cam was talking about pulling him, and I thought we might as well get whatever little wimpy harvest. And I'm just gonna start 2 auto flowers because we have time for those again inside and fill those spots. Do 1 more round. This is a green zebra. I harvested the first one of these last night, and I probably should have showed you that. But that was the one that was on the plant when we put it in the ground. And typically you would take the flowers and the fruit off to give the plant a chance to get established. But we were just curious. I've never left any on before. And one fell off and got sunburnt and fell off. And the other one survived, and we'll see if it's a good tomato. These guys are either the ones that we got for real cheap at the farmer's market or ones that we took the suckers of that have healed. There's a yellow brandywine. Oh, so yeah, these 2 are, and they're doing pretty good. Those are the suckers that survived. And then there's the Aces 55 and the Sweetheart Cherry, and that's a little heart-shaped cherry tomato is really cute. Over here in the squash, I keep trying to separate this. I have some squash that really needs pollinating. When I was watering, I sprayed a bee this morning and I felt really bad. I apologized. I think he forgives me. Some of these this guy was so prolific. I just harvested 2 more of these last night too. There's just babies everywhere, but some of them weren't getting pollinated. So I need to be out here hand pollinating more because I'm seeing more bee activity. And as these flowers start to bloom, hopefully we'll get more and more of that. This is the gray zucchini. These are so good. I think these are one of my favorite squash of the. Here's this big delicata. There's a little tiny baby right next to him. Let's see. He's getting like the color that you would think. I think this guy's gonna be a partially vining type because I think these guys typically vine, and this is just a bush variety. Sometimes those are just bush-like and kind of in between. Here's a little patty pan on here and a little tiny baby right there. Got a couple zucchini to harvest. This one looks like it didn't get fully pollinated, but because we're getting it young, I think, yeah, that's still firm. That'll be just fine. I'm gonna harvest that today. And then this guy, I've seen a lot of people post about these, but I never had one, is one of those kind of, I don't know if it's something that happened in the genetics where but the zucchini is basically like coming out here. It's like a combination of fruit and flower, but it looks like the zucchini behind it is just fine. So I'll eat that too. Beans are still struggling along, trying to see if they could make it work. There it looks like finally is a cucumber on. I almost called it a pickle on this guy. I'm very nervous that the squirrel will get there before I do, but we'll see. And I need to start kind of training him up a little bit. Maybe that'll protect him some. Or at least I want to tell myself that. Okay. This guy continues to push out. We did not get him yet. We will get there soon. As I fall down. I'm not the most sure-footed since my illness, so you might catch several slides and slips, and this ground is pretty uneven. Our artichoke back there is doing pretty good. Let's see. There's a patty pan on this guy. Oh, I harvested one. Ooh. There's a little guy there. And this guy's gonna be the crookneck. I think his little one didn't get pollinated. There's a big zucchini back there. Bell peppers have little flowers on them. We should be getting peppers. A little replacement squash is getting male flowers. I did not think that one was gonna make it. And I've been harvesting, just harvested the one little other third one we had in here. I'll give this guy a few more days too. And these peppers all seem to have flowers. So we should know very soon if we got jalapenos, because those are primary. 6 jalapenos back there. 1 shishito right here. Anaheim and goodness gracious, what's this one? That's the Anaheim. This one is the Serrano. So, doing pretty good under the shade. I'm sure they'd be a little bigger if they were a little less shaded, but it was real hard to keep them alive for a while. We'll go just outside here, and to the left is our little wildflower patch and some tomatoes and sweet potatoes down there. So okay, let me go back out that again. My neighbor's friend came by to pick something up and his truck was idling. Also, I was embarrassed to talk on video and someone might be in earshot. So usually in my old place in Monterey, we lived close to people and I would be like super embarrassed and whispering in the front yard. Here we have quite a bit of space, so I don't worry about it quite as much, but still can be embarrassing. So a couple green beans here, the few that made it. Climbing pole beans. This is a lot of amaranth, and I don't know that I planted any varieties besides red. And that one very well be red. Oh, look at that. It's about to get a little flower in there. I didn't realize they were that close. But some of these guys have just these really beautiful, I don't know if I call them, I guess variegated patterns. Here's a zinnia that's about to bloom. He's got some little side shoots there. There's lots of flowers that are close. All the sunflowers are getting close. That little zinnia's getting close. I have no idea what that guy is. I think he's a weed. Hard to get to, but there's one little celosia. I think that's a pink flamingo celosia. It's got a little head. Usually I think they bloom a little later, but these guys were struggling in that sun, and if he wants a little flower head, more power to him. So hopefully this will all fill out soon and start to really provide the pollinators a place to be. Here's this one sunflower here. It was the only one that survived of this plant. We planted this whole thing and they all got eaten. There is a, hydrangea? Nope. I do this all the time. Hollyhock. There's a hollyhock that's gotten all eaten to crap. I think the grasshoppers are loving that guy. Some more amaranth right along here. These are the replacement sunflowers that actually came up when we replanted, and then we just gave up and let whatever was there grow. These are our landlord's plants that we've been helping him take care of. We've been watering and treating them the same as ours in ground, and they just don't look as healthy. So we feed them again today, but I really feel like this ground, although it looks so dead and dry, is really great for weed. I guess maybe because it's a weed and likes to grow in that kind of environment. But they're doing okay. I think they're a little younger too than ours, but we'll try and get them all healed up. These are a couple new tomatoes that we just put in the ground. I think Brandywine, Rio Grande, which is paste type, I believe. Amish paste, which is definitely a paste type. Got some Cherokee Carbon, which is a Cherokee hybrid. And I've mentioned this before, but my landlord gave me these because they weren't selling at his little local store. They got a little fried because this was such a sunny area, but they are putting on tomatoes and flowers and starting to grow pretty good now. There's a black prince there. I think there might be 2 black princes. And here's our little sweet potatoes. The newest planting of them that we didn't protect it all from the sun. A few of them are gonna succumb, but we have some backups to throw in there. But the ones that got put in the ground a little earlier are just thriving, making new leaves, and hopefully we'll get some sweet potatoes. There's shades kind of laying around everywhere. I apologize for that, but I'll try and avoid messiness. This is a spot we chose to put our plum tree that my son got from his tribe. It's kind of, as you can see up from here. We were initially going to put it closer to the house, and then we thought it'd be nice to have shade provided by it. And I think it needs more sun than that and doesn't want to compete. So go over here first. And all of these sunflowers are getting real close, or I do have heads. Little tiny guy gonna make a head. I didn't get a ton of nutrients or anything here, but there's our little wimpiest artichoke paired with our happiest guy that gets the most shade. Seeded all the summer squash that didn't come up because we have some that are getting quite large. Those ones have come up, but the other ones have not yet. So we'll see. Trying to keep the ground real moist in the meantime to facilitate them coming up. I think that one that's the furthest under there gets like total shade pretty much all day, so he's probably not that happy. Beans, gourd, Moon and Stars watermelon. I thought I saw a little watermelon on him. It might have been one of the other guys. Really pretty variety. Our potatoes, before we got them covered with more soil that would hold in some water, I think a lot of them died back. I don't have a lot of faith. This is the only thing. These two little guys are the only parts that have come up green again and survived in the hot sun. So we'll see. I'm going to plant something on top of them, I think. And if the potatoes come up, they come up. And we can let them kind of battle it out. Our onions also struggle quite a bit in the full sun. This guy's really soaked in a big puddle after we watered. Some of them are doing better than others, but we'll see. And we have gourd here. And this watermelon's starting to really take off. Oh, there's a baby. Ooh. See that little guy? They're so cute. And this guy's just kind of vining every which way, and I guess I'll let him do that. I think that's definitely the melon. And another gourd, I believe. These tomatoes are still small but mighty, plugging along. Some of them, oh, he's all dirty from the watering. Some of them have multiple tomatoes. These are determinate varieties. These are all Celebrity, 6 Celebrity, and then 2 Better Bush. And the Better Bush look great. And they're putting on tomatoes. We planted 3 new guys over here that we got for free from Wispy Willow. There's our last little artichoke. Maybe he's actually the worst looking one. Floridade tomato. I think I'm gonna get that guy and the sucker. I'm gonna keep those low branches trimmed, especially if they're sick or they're dry, like that guy, because that's just costing the plant energy. This guy is a Cherokee Purple, so they do have at least one. And then this is a Valencia, which I don't know much about that variety, but this guy was pretty yellow and unhappy when we got him. We did just fertilize in that green. The new growth looks really a lot nicer green than that lower growth, so I think we're coming back. Corn is still limping. I left it in the ground just to kind of have roots in the ground and have a place that will hold water. But my son made us a nice little bean teepee around it here. And we planted some pole beans here. And I hope they climb all the way to the top. I think in the winter I'll plant it with sweet peas so we can have a big sweet pea structure. Those are so beautiful. And over here I planted some oregano, thyme, and sage. And this one, which did not get watered on that side, I hate it, you have to get right up on them, has mint in it. So we'll see if any of those come up. And I just thought those containers were sitting there with poor soil and I might as well use them for something. Oh, we skipped these guys here. These are our biggest struggle, guys. In the last garden tour, I showed you them and how they were struggling and then how they perked back up. They're having a harder time perking back up because they just are getting hit. They're the main ones that get hit by the sun. Across the way, guys that get shade, so happy. These guys get so much sun throughout the day. So last time I had showed you this guy perked back up and how good his new growth looked. Well, the next day, I think, my son watered and thought I had gotten them really good the night before and didn't water quite enough. And it was a really hot day and his new growth fried right off. So I don't know what's gonna happen with him. I think a lot of times what they'll do is start a new leader to somewhere lower down. And we'll see if that happens. Just gonna keep trying to water him and keep him alive and hope he's okay. We got this guy here, which I think might be a Thrombicino. Yeah, look, there's some fruit, which is unfortunately nice and muddy down there. Those are like really interesting long squash that you can eat like a zucchini. They're really resistant to vine borers and squash bugs, I believe, and then also do really well in the heat from what I've heard, but these guys are struggling a little bit. But you can harvest them young and eat them like a zucchini, or you can let them mature and eat them like a butternut. We've grown them before and we've only eaten them like a zucchini, which we liked, but we like zucchini better, and that's really easy to grow. So I'm going to try them as a butternut because I also really love winter squash. So we're going to try and let those mature. This guy over here, we have a little tiny cucamelon that I grew from seed who's barely holding on in this heat. The other cucamelon died in the heat, so next year we'll try them earlier and baby them and shade them. This guy's perking up. He was doing kind of bad yesterday, but I'm trying to train him away from being on the ground. I think this is a little Jacoby Little pumpkin. Finally starting to grow upward a little bit. Our melons, we had that one that cracked come off of this one and he looks way healthier, so I think there might be something to that. The watermelon first one being a dummy and to knock it off that my friend had mentioned to me. This I think is an Armenian yard-long cucumber. All kinds of flowers all the time. And then there's our other Clemson Sweet watermelon. We harvested the one that I had fertilized because the other one was red. I figured I'd try it, so we still haven't cut him open, and I'll show you when we do. Hopefully he's just like a miniature watermelon. Are you a hoverfly or a mosquito? Jerk. Yeah, mosquito. Okay. Let's see. I haven't seen any babies on here, but hopefully before too long. Let's go right over here. We just re-sowed some of these guys that haven't come up. I think the majority of them that haven't come up have been in the sun and they haven't been able to stay well. Hey, there's a little okra baby, Cam Planet okra in the outsides. I haven't noticed if any of those came up. But I think the ground wasn't able to stay moist, and the ones that are inside here have come up a lot better. There's a silver watermelon. There's 3 of them up, so we'll probably just spread those around and try and grow them everywhere because we don't have as much time now. This is a butternut squash, and these guys, I hate them. I'm gonna go grab some soil, maybe just from here actually, because this ended up with such sandy soil, and then when we water, soil gets moved out of the way and leaves this guy just barely in the soil. So I'm hoping we can keep him in there long enough to strengthen that stem. We'll see. The other little guy was like that and he ended up coming out. So here's a sugar baby watermelon. There's 2 of those little guys. Some butterscotch. Like a little slightly sweeter butternut. This one, I don't know what that one is because I didn't mark him. And I thought I'd remember. But there's 3 of those. And nobody on these ones just yet. Let's see. I don't think I got any of these yet. So this is our biggest struggler side. Looks like this guy's getting flowers. I think that's a long bean. Noodle bean. There's a little gourd melon right there. Watermelon right there. This guy's got a slope, so the water just drains down. And we didn't have a lot of soil to supplement him with, so these guys are doing a little bit better. I think it's some shade. I love the markings on that one. I think it's a pumpkin. Some beans there. There's a little baby right there. Oops. I think that guy might be a pumpkin too. That guy growing up here. Here's the lushest of the. I'm gonna walk right into this orb weaver spider. It hangs out underneath the shade. It's so beautiful, but it's so big, and I will creep out, freak out if it gets on me. These are our healthiest vine. Show you from the other side, they look even more lush. And I love that they're so tenderly. These guys are really climbing more than the other guys. Like I said, we started really late because we moved in late, so we are a little behind, but we totally have plenty of time to get fruit off these. And we're just gonna hope. I'm gonna take it towards the front. I'm not gonna walk you through the obstacle course. And then I think we're done. This is the plum tree that we're gonna put on the ground. It is a Toka plum. We tried to get one that was on the sweeter side. So it'll do well here. There's our potatoes, which are really a lot less lush than they were, kind of dying back. And we should be harvesting those and doing a video about it very soon. And our carrots and strawberries. Looks like a couple of the strawberries are surviving. I know carrots and strawberries are a weird combo. I didn't think the strawberries were going to survive, so I planted the carrots. And then here's the dahlia and this black popping corn. If we get little tiny heads of that are decorative, I'll be super happy. Back here, and then I'll show you the herbs last. So these are the freak show plants. This guy's getting too much shade. And this guy that got planted at the same time is a lot bigger. He gets a little more sun. So we need to probably rearrange these. Blueberry, struggle. Blueberry kicking butt. Just getting bigger by the day. And I haven't seen flowers yet, but I'm guessing we'll get some soon. And then lastly, I'll show you this little herb garden. Got some cilantro, I think this might be Chinese basil. There, I think this one is blue spice basil. Look at those tiny little flowers. Here's a primary like for teas. Purple ball basil, little tiny leaves, and I think this is regular purple basil, but I'm not positive. There's cilantro coming up all around there. Some Genovese basil underneath here. Kind of struggling to get some light. And then I planted a few other herbs in there to fill it out. Some dill, and I can't remember what else, but we'll see what all comes out. I love the like lush look of it. So yeah, that's the garden for today. Sun's just starting to come up, and it's gonna get hot out here, so I'm gonna go inside while I still can. And I'll come back out and do some work in the evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you have a great day.